was gonna film this outside in the truck, but it's dark. I felt like this is a much better Christmas mood, especially given the time of year. So I wanted to go over my off-road gear. I pretty much keep everything I need for my truck in terms of off-road stuff inside this bucket. It's just a normal Craftsman bucket from Lowe's. I'll put a link to this and everything else. I'll put a full description of everything I mentioned in the video in the description. So I mispronunciate things, I say things wrong. So you can always go to there, and that's an affirmative source just right there in the description. Make sure to like, subscribe. I appreciate it, but getting back to this. So recently I got a new truck. In my Ranger, I kept this bucket full of stuff. Always pretty much about 99% of the time it was in my bed, just strapped to the side of the bed, and it just stayed there ready to go for if I did any off-roading or if I need it for any type of recovery or airing down, those type of things. So I like this little setup because I can easily take it out of the truck if I need the room in the bed, and if I need to use it for off-roading type stuff, then I can easily take it out of the truck, and it's more accessible than going back and forth to the truck. And it's a nice little compact package that I could potentially lend it to somebody if I know they're going off-roading and they don't have their own gear. And so far I like this. It does get a little cramped. I think I might get another one of these buckets and just kind of split the gear because I'm starting to run out of space. But I'll go through everything I have. I'm also going to go through the things I have inside the truck. I have some things that are kind of common, like jumper cables. But there's some other items I don't think I've ever seen someone on YouTube or anywhere else talk about having. So I think I have some unique, interesting things that you might take from this video. So we'll get into that. I'll bring the camera closer, I'll get the light a little better, and we'll adjust the angle so you can see better. Some of you looking at this stuff I go through might be thinking this whole setup is kind of anemic, especially for serious off-roading. If you're a real overlander or you do actual crawling and off-roading and you're frequently using recovery gear and things like that, this probably doesn't apply to you too much. Truth of the matter is I don't do serious off-roading. Most of my off-roading is on forest roads, getting to campsites, exploring, which are pretty much always roads. They might be in pretty bad conditions, they might be washed out, but at the end of the day, there's some type of road. I haven't done any crawling, maybe one day in the future, but I don't do that now. So when you look at my gear, just keep that in mind. These are kind of meant for emergency situations. I want to be able to get out of any situation I might get into, but they're not meant to be used day in and day out, and they're kind of last resorts, not necessarily the first resort. So if you're a big off-roader, this probably is not going to be enough for you, but it works for me so far and kind of the things I do. So yeah, so first thing here is this is a Jacko. This is just air pressure gauge. It also has a relief valve right here so you can let air out. So I use this for airing down whenever I go off-roading. It helps a lot. If you've ever ridden with and without air down, you know it makes a big difference in ride quality, in terms of grip, and then just overall better handling when you're off of pavement. So I like that so far. It works better than the gauge that's built into the truck. A lot of newer vehicles have those digital air pressure readouts. I don't trust those too much, so I like having this this physical gauge that I can check myself. This is the Air. I think this is the 88P. Like I mentioned, I'll put in the description exactly which one it is. This is just a basic air pump. These are highly reviewed. A lot of times this is the first pump that's recommended to people. It's not the same level as the ARB, but it's a lot cheaper. I like these compared to onboard air systems just because I can move them between vehicles. Like I said, I just sold my Ranger and I didn't have to deal with removing some kind of on-vehicle air solution. So I like this. This handles up to 33 inch tires. The Ranger had 31s, I think, and this was perfect for it. So I might upgrade in the future to something a little bit more powerful, but this hooks up directly to your battery. It doesn't go through kind of like a cigarette lighter or a 12 volt outlet, but the cords, the air hose is very long, so I'm able to reach all the tires. The power cables are long, and I've never had an issue with being able to reach a tire or anything like that. It does get hot, so if you're using this frequently or you're doing multiple vehicles, you might have to let it cool down. So it works for me when I do it several times a year when I'm using this. But you probably want a little bit something heavier duty if you're using it like every weekend or something. These are just everything else in here. This kind of recovery gear I just bought from Harbor Freight. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but I don't use this that often. So I'm not going to be spending a lot of money on things I'm not using very often. I'm not made of money. So these are the Badlands. I can't remember what these are called now. Shackles. Yes, here we go. Shackles. Overall, they feel fine. I haven't had issues with them. I actually haven't had to use these yet, so I honestly can't give too much feedback on these, but they seem good enough, and the reviews I've seen have rated them well enough, so hopefully they'll hold out. I actually have some worn soft shackles I plan on buying over the next couple of weeks, so I probably will be replacing these with the worn, and I'll put a link to the worn that I'm going to be replacing these with. So that's mostly just because I kind of like the idea of having a soft shackle for safety reasons. Here, this is the Gerber folding shovel. I like to have a shovel in my truck whenever I'm off-road. A lot of times you can dig yourself out of situations you get yourself into, so if you get stuck in the snow or anything like that, mud, you can typically dig yourself out or kind of dig up some dry dirt, put it on the wheel, and it helps a lot. So this is a little bit of a last resort. Whenever I am off-roading or if we're going camping or things, I usually throw a full-size shovel in my truck. But in case I don't have a full-size shovel, I use this this little Gerber. It also has a little kind of flat spot here that you can use for hammering down stakes if you're camping, or just as kind of a last resort hammer. So this is pretty nice. It folds up into a small package, and it feels high enough quality, and it's worked for the kind of the basic situations I've had to use it. A lot of people, they think whenever they go off-road they're going to need max tracks or things like that. I had a friend recently I told that I asked them if they wanted to go kind of just exploring on some trails in the Los Angeles area, and they mentioned that they need to buy max tracks. A lot of people think when you're just getting to off-roading that max tracks for some reason are some prerequisite to ever leaving pavement. I don't think that's the case. I use, you can buy with a shovel, an old rug, things like that. While I do think max tracks are a very good product, they're expensive, so these things work just as well, even if they're not as convenient. So I have another hard shackle here. This is the Badlands from Harbor Freight, and then in here I have a Harbor Freight recovery strap. So I'll put a link to that in the description. Let me load this back up. I'll talk about the other things I have. So this whole thing fits in here pretty nice. There we go. And it's my kind of last resort off-roading gear. I am missing flares. I need to buy some flares, and there's a couple other things I'm missing. In terms of like small things I keep in the truck, I always keep Ibuprofen, Tylenol, Benadryl, and we keep Drapamine because she tends to get car sick. So not so much now that she's older, but especially when she was a puppy, she would get car sick. So we would keep Drapamine just for those long 12-hour long daily drives that we're doing when we're going cross country. So, and it's also useful for people too. Let me keep this over here. Actually, it uses the table. I also make sure to keep a pair of gloves. These are mechanics. I don't remember the exact one, but I've done videos on these because I also use these for bike riding. These are kind of my all-around gloves that I use for almost everything. It's very important to have gloves, especially if you're somewhere cold or it freezes. If you've ever tried to put chains on a tire or help somebody when it's freezing outside, you know how quickly your fingers just become useless, and it's pretty painful when you're trying to manipulate anything in freezing weather. So I like to keep a pair of gloves. They're also useful when it's warmer, just to protect your hands and keep them clean too if you're going somewhere. I usually keep a pair of straps in the back of the truck just for strapping down cargo. I recently got these Diamondback ones for free. They seem a little bit nicer quality than the ones I have, so I'll probably be switching them out to use these. And they're a little bit heavier duty than the cheap Amazon ones I've had. As far as kind of weird things, so I mentioned I do have a couple weird things in the truck. Whoops. I do have normal things like jumper cables. I have like a no-name brand jumper battery pack. I keep trash bags in the truck, and I also keep like a screwdriver, vice grips, things like that. But as far as like things I think are really useful that I haven't seen in anybody's gear is these little vomit. I don't know what you call these. Let me see what they call them. a vomit bag. So if you've ever been to a doctor and you tell them that your stomach's upset, they'll usually give you one of these, and just so you don't throw up everywhere. They also have things kind of similar to this on airplanes. This is a little bit nicer, so I'll open this up and show you. These are about a little bit less than $1 each, so for like a 10-pack on Amazon, I think it was like $7. So all these are is a little piece of plastic, and this opens up so someone, if they feel sick, they can get sick into the bag. This is useful for a couple reasons. You can use it to hold water, other liquids if you're running into some type of emergency situation where you need to collect water. In addition to that, if you've ever kind of gone long distances, you're doing road trips, it's not super uncommon for maybe somebody to get food poisoning, and you can't really just sit around all day until their stomach feels better. So if they feel the need to get sick, they can get sick here, and you don't have to worry about people throwing up in your car or getting an accident because you're trying to pull over suddenly in the middle of a freeway because someone's getting sick. Also, there's been times where we maybe went camping, everyone is having drinks around the fire the night before, and not everybody feels so good the next morning when you're driving out off-road and going along bumpy roads when they're hungover. So this is really useful for those type of situations. Billy also gets sick sometimes, like I mentioned, on road trips. You can kind of just quickly throw this under a dog. That takes quite a bit of skill, but it is somewhat doable. You can catch a good amount of it. So I would highly recommend these, especially for the price. They have a lot of uses. You can also, if someone needs to relieve themselves, especially males, this will work in a pinch. So yeah, I do like having these. I keep a couple of these in the car now, and I think it's a somewhat unique thing, and maybe it'll catch on. If you see other people mention this, just remember you've seen it here first on my channel. So that kind of covers my basic off-roading gear. It's nothing super fancy. This is almost kind of like my truck EDC. I'm not a super hardcore off-roader. I'm not doing crazy stuff, so this has been working out fine for me. And as you can tell, I'd say about half of this stuff hasn't even been used, just because I haven't been in the situation where I need it. But yeah, make sure to like, subscribe. I'm going to be doing a couple more videos soon. We're going to be doing a cross-country trip in the new F-150 Tremor, so I'll be doing a cross-country analysis on that, kind of how it works cross-country, the gas mileage, things like that, as well as I'll be covering, let me get this camera up a little bit. I'll be covering the new bed system I have, so I have a whole new little bed setup coming. I'll have a new cover, interior bed organization, things like that. So make sure to like, subscribe. That's coming soon. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. I always love interacting with people in the comments. Also, I think this might be the first video after I reach 1,000 subscribers. So thanks everybody. I reached my New Year's goal. I really appreciate everybody that's been subscribing and following throughout the years. So hope everyone's having a good holidays. I'll see you out there.